Hi guys, so today I'm going to be talking about some basic care info on crested and gargoyle geckos. This is Chipotle. She is one of my gargoyle geckos. She's not an adult yet, she's like a sub-adult. She's fired down right now, so she's not showing her colors. She's usually bright red. That's one thing about the gargoyles and cresteds, is that they fire up and fire down, which fired up is a term for when they're showing more of their pigmentation. So she can fire up bright red with red stripes and then fire down to be almost totally white with the red stripes, or all different things in between, like some more brown, some more pinkish, or like some more black. And it's really cool how the gargoyle geckos will have the different shades. Crested geckos do the same thing, but they only get like dull and then brighter. They're both amazing starter reptiles, and they're really just amazing for anyone. They just sit on you, they're very docile, they're fun to watch, they're really fun to hold. I love how they just hang on to you. It's really fun holding arboreal animals, so they'll sit on your shoulder when they're more tame and like older, and they'll jump from hand to hand, which is always fun to watch. Like, I'm not sure if she's gonna want to do right now. She's actually, oh, come on. It's really cool to watch them jump though. She's really tame though, and she usually just kind of sits around, but yeah, I think they're definitely the easiest reptile to own. They don't need heating, they don't need UV lighting, and they can live in plastic bins or simple cages, things like that. Basically, you want to have the size of their cage grow with the gecko. You don't want to start out a baby in a 10-gallon tank or anything like that. It'll just be a huge space, it'll get stressed out, and it won't be able to find its food. Oh, are you going to jump? No. And so you want to start out with something small. Like for a baby, you're going to get either a small critter keeper that's only a few grams in weight, or a medium critter keeper, or a 6-gallon or 6-quart bin. For example, this is the size of a 6-quart bin. So as you can see, it's nothing huge. You want it stood up like this. They need the vertical space to climb, and you're going to want to put different things in there for them to climb on. If you're using a bin like that, just putting her down for a second. Okay. If you're using a bin, I usually set mine up with paper towels. Well, paper towel substrate for any caging is the best. You can use things like peat moss or cocoa fiber, but you never want to feed insects when you have loose substrate like this. If you do want to feed insects in the cage and you're using paper towel, which they can't swallow because the loose substrate is bad with how they can be eating a cricket or anything like that, and they'll go to attack and get a mouthful of substrate, and this will cause a blockage or impaction in their digestive system, and it can kill them. I've seen it happen way too many times, and it's just really sad when it can easily be avoided. Other than that, this is how you want your bin set up. This is a 12-quart bin. Something like this you would use for about a 12+ gram gecko. You can use up to like 30 grams. You go up in size after, and you'll want like 15-quart, 20-quart, things like that. You will give them a plant. I always hang plants on the top for them to climb on. You can put some cork bark, little things to climb on. When it's a bin, there's not a lot of space, so you don't want to fill it up totally, but you do want to give them different things to climb on. That's paper towel, which slid down a little, but you can put it all up the back, give them more to climb on. As for if you're doing, like when they're older and you have a cage, I like to like just put cork bark slanted that they'll have different places to climb on and hide. You can use little cork bark logs. You can even use PVC piping, and just you want vines and different plants and stuff to make them feel safe. You can use a medium critter keeper like this one, which I have a little baby crested gecko in, which my girl is also on top of right now. 1 second. Come on. And so, as you can see, if we can get, okay. As you can see, I have a log high in there, and different vines and leaves. Sorry about the reflection. you know, little things to climb on and hide in so they feel safe. And I wish you could see him in there right now, but he's pretty small. When you're feeding, I would just, but yeah, you want them to feel safe. And anyway, when you're feeding, their diet is very easy. If you don't want insects in your house, it's really not unnecessary for these guys. If you feed them repashy crested gecko powder diet, it's a powder that you mix with water. If you seal it and put it back in the fridge, it lasts up to a year and stays fresh. But you just mix it with water, put it in a little bottle cap or a bowl, and put it in their cage for the night, and then just replace it every night. And they just lick it out and eat that, and that's their full nutrition, so you don't have insects jumping around the house and anything like that. If you do want to feed insects, though, this can be part of their diet, but not their full diet. They can be fed insects about once to twice a week at most, and these you want gut loaded, which basically means filled up with food. So if you just say eat them right now, you're going to want to put them in something and give them food to eat, and then you want to feed them off this time the next day or later, so that they have gotten time to fill themselves up and not just be like a shell of an insect and not have nutrition. The healthiest insect to feed them is a dubia roach nymph, which is going to be high in protein and calcium, and not high in chitin like things like mealworms, which you never want to feed. If you don't have access to dubia roaches, which you can buy online or at expos and in some pet stores, then feed crickets. Never feed mealworms. They're just not healthy. Like I said, they're high in chitin and they're just not easy to digest. They're not nutritious. So that's just something you definitely want to avoid. Never think that their diet can be a bunch of fruit and insects, because it's not going to give them everything they need. You can't just be feeding them like bananas and stuff like that and think it's their wild diet. You want to feed either the repashy crested gecko powdered diet, which I sell. If you guys message me, I can ship it, or we sell it at all the expos in the Northeast. Or pangea fruit mix is something healthy to mix in. It's a treat that either can be fed by itself like once or twice a week, or you can mix it in partially with the repashy, and they just love it. Mine eat so much of it. But yeah, never feed baby food. A lot of people for some reason do that. When they first came into the reptile industry just years ago, people didn't know about care of a lot of different animals, so they're like, oh, they eat fruit, let's give them like fruit baby food. No, they're going to get metabolic bone disease. I'll post a link below actually of a rescue that we have who was fed baby food, and he has kinked up tail. His body is just deformed. It deforms their bones when they get metabolic bone disease, because they're not getting the right nutrition like they should when you're just feeding them insects and baby food or fruit or whatever else. They're going to have malnutrition, have stunted growth, and just not have healthy organs, and it's not healthy for them at all. Never feed baby food. I really wouldn't even do this as a treat. If you want to feed a treat, feed insects or feed pangea fruit smoothie mix. And that is also the same. It's like the repashy, or you can feed Clarks too. Some people feed that, but I've never had experience with it. But yeah, the pangea fruit smoothie mix is a good treat for them. But please, like I said, just stay away from baby food. It's just not worth risking their health and their life to have like a stunted gecko who's in horrible pain, getting deformed bones, and it's just like, I've seen so many die that way. It's just really, really sad. I mean, it's easy enough to just buy a powder that is cheaper than baby food, that lasts way longer. Baby food, once you open it, it's done in like 2 days or something like that. The repashy powdered gecko mix is, you just put it in the fridge, it lasts a year. It's so much cheaper. It's like a few dollars, so you can get a ton of it, instead of paying a few dollars for a little tiny thing of baby food that's not healthy and going to kill them. But anyway, like I said, just to go over their caging again, because I didn't finish telling about the adults. Like I said, the babies go in the small ones, so like a 6 quart, and then around 12 grams, like a 12 quart, or you can start them out on a small critter keeper and then a medium critter keeper, and have things in there for them to climb on and feel safe. You don't want it to be totally empty, but you don't want it to be super crowded so they can't move. You're so cute. as you can see, they get really nice. Oh, and I didn't mention, but the care, like I'm doing both at once, obviously, because it's the same. The only difference is that with gargoyle geckos, you cannot house them together. They're solitary animals. The only time to be together is during breeding season. Some people have had success keeping female crested geckos together, which I would never recommend, because if you get two babies and you're like, oh, they're babies, let's put them together, you don't want any babies together. They could think, oh, look, an insect, and bite off somebody's tail, and their tails don't grow back. And it's obviously going to stress them out. It's just they're going to fight, they could bully each other, they could bite each other, they could bite off toes, and you're not always there to see them in the middle of the night when they come out, when your room is completely dark. They wait, and then they come out, and you're not going to see it. So people are like, oh, they're just sleeping, they seem to be doing fine, but then in the middle of the night they could be fighting. You can end up with a dead one, you can end up with just really stressed out geckos, missing tails, anything like that. I never recommend putting any reptiles together, like, so I don't know and plus if you have a male and a female baby, or you happen to have a male and a female that are a little bit bigger and the male isn't showing that he's a male yet or anything like that, you can get them breeding early, and if they breed too early, it's not healthy. They can get stunted growth, they can become egg-bound and die. It's just gonna really hurt them. They can get a calcium crash and die, and you don't want babies having babies. Anyway, then once they're a little bit bigger, you put them in like a 10-gallon tank to end with, like as an adult. So around like 40 plus grams, you can put them in a 10-gallon. You want it, full of vines and cork bark and branches. If you want branches that are free, you can go out in your backyard and just bring some in that are the proper size, and give them like vertical space. And you don't want one that's like huge, and you don't want one that's so tiny that it's gonna break or something like that. You want one that they can securely grab onto. You just put it in the oven for like 25 minutes to 30 minutes, around like 250 to 300 degrees, and this will make sure that it's dried out so it won't start rotting, and also that there's no parasites and insects in there that can harm your animal. Let's see, what else? When you're handling them, you never want to grab at them because they'll think that they're being attacked. You never want to hold their tail because it'll fall off. And as you can see, they can be really tame and just sit there, but when you're handling one that's a little bit more stressed out, you'll see that it can get harder. When you're handling the right way, it's just one hand in front of the other. If you really need them to move, you can tip one hand down and they'll go onto it. You never want to put your hand right in front of their face or anything like that. And you just want to have them walk hand to hand. I want to see if she'll jump on me. Come on, I'm gonna jump. No, you're just a good girl, aren't you? But, just hand to hand. Give them a little space in between each hand. And that's really it. That'll make them feel safe. If you go to grab at them or anything like that, then they'll just get scared and run away, and it's not going to be good. But it's really cute when they just hang on to your thumb and whatnot. I'll get one who's a little bit more like young and flighty and show you how it can be with holding one of those. Whenever you're holding them, you want to do it in a safe space. So do it on like in the middle of a big bed or something like that, because they can move very fast. They can bolt and run, they can jump really far, and they can easily get away and easily climb into a tiny space where they're not going to come out. Okay, let me take my other one out. Let me just put her in a safe spot. There you go. Okay, let go. Now, another thing is when you're taking them out, you can just put your hand flat so they come in. That'll make them feel safe. When you bring them home, you want to give them at least a week or two to settle in and not be handled by anyone, because they'll be really stressed out. Let me just get the baby out of the middle of this foliage. Come on. Come on, baby. There you go. This is a baby crested gecko that I have, and as you can see, they can jump and some of them move a lot faster. And this one was actually born with a dilated eye, which is really interesting. This is the normal eye, and this is the dilated eye. As you can see, there's a big difference where that eye just doesn't react to the light as much and doesn't get small. And this is the brightest light that he's ever really in. I keep him in low lighting. He's a little special needs gecko, but it's actually being really calm outside. One thing I would not do, like I am right now though, is bring them outside. I'm more of an experienced keeper, and even if you just think you're experienced, I just never recommend it to anyone. For one, it's getting dark out right now, so it's not too hot, and it's not like bright and sunny because they're nocturnal. And speaking of that, their temperature, like they don't need UV lighting, they don't need any bright lights obviously because they're nocturnal, but their temperature needs to stay between 70 and 80 degrees. Above 80 will kill them. People have brought them out in the sun, people brought them into a hot car, put them on something hot, or so many things can happen. Your house can get too warm, anything like that, and you really need to keep track of that so it doesn't get too hot for them, because like I said, it'll kill them. They're adorable. But I think that's about the basics. I think they're just great because they're so easy to care for. It's just really hard to mess up. They come in so many different color morphs. If you guys are ever interested in getting a crested gecko or a gargoyle gecko, or we sell other geckos too, look at dragontownreptiles.com. I'll put a link in the description, but we have beautiful morphs and a lot of great geckos. And if you want a first reptile, or you already have them and you're looking for a really high quality morph or anything like that, you know, feel free to message me, feel free to check out the website, ask any questions that you have about them, because I'm sure that in this video, just rambling on, I missed something about them. But yeah, yeah, I mean, I think they're great. I recommend them to everyone, especially like people who I see are like, I want a first one, like reptile. How about getting a bearded dragon? How about getting an iguana? Oh my god. Things like that. No, I think these guys are great. Like I said, you know, no insects, just powdered diet, no UV, no heating, just keep it cool enough for them, which isn't hard, and they hang out on you. They're just fun how they jump around and crawl on you. I think they're just great pets. Like, it's once you get one, you just can't stop. They have great personalities, and they're just really cute. It's fun to watch the cresteds climb up the glass. It's really fun to have them jump around on you. It's fun to watch them like hang upside down and stuff, and they're just really interesting. Only thing I think I missed was just you want them to have high humidity, so you spray their cage down once or twice a day. If you have one that's like an open front screen on like a 10-gallon cage, which you don't want to have them in a full screen cage, just one side at most. Even less is fine. If you have bins, just put like a little ventilation like screen, or like poke holes in it. You want it to dry out by the same time each day, because if it gets too wet, it can create mold problems, and they need to have the up and down humidity, but 80% going down to like 50%, and just keep it, you know, sprayed once or twice a day. It's really not that hard. If you don't, they'll get dehydrated, have shedding problems, things like that. But I mean, they're the greatest. So I guess that's it. And feel free to message me. Look at the links that I posted below on the care and the gecko that has the MBD, the metabolic bone disease, and if you want to buy one, or if you want to look at ones we have, or you know, anything like that. But yeah, if you get one, then you'll definitely enjoy them. I think they're great animals. So thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for some more care videos and all my animal videos that I usually post. Come on, silly. And like I said, feel free to message me with questions, blah blah blah. I'm repeating myself. Thanks for watching.